What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the 2025 Ford Mustang. This one is the GT Premium finished in Oxford White. MSRP is $53,700. Big shout out to Mooresville Ford for providing this new Mustang for today's video. Check out their website, linked down below. Underneath the hood of the 2025 Ford Mustang GT, you're going to find that naturally aspirated 5-liter 8-cylinder motor. This V8 pumps out 480 horsepower with 415 pound-feet of torque, either paired to a 6-speed manual or the 10-speed automatic transmission. Curb weight is around 3,800 pounds. It runs on a 16-gallon fuel tank, and you can expect 16 miles per gallon in the city with 24 miles per gallon on the highway. And for the automatic 0 to 60 time is under 4 seconds. Quarter mile time is 12.2 seconds at 116.8 miles per hour. The overall length is 189.4 inches with a wheelbase at 107. Height is 55 and width is 75.4 inches. Onto the styling for the 2025 Ford Mustang. This is the new S650 generation. So this has been updated over the previous generation. For the headlights, you got a nice design on the LEDs. You can see the 3 beams themselves with a dark housing, really sharp body lines in the upper portion, and then you can see that pony logo right in the center. Finished in chrome, and you also have gloss black for the grille. Has a nice design overall. Far corners, you're going to see some plastic black material with more sharp body lines, and then just some more white throughout the center with a safety sensor in the center in the lower grille. Has a nice bold appearance. Of course, this has the Mustang characteristics, super nice and aggressive. You're going to see a functional heat extraction vent up on top, and then pretty sharp lines throughout the hood as well, just to keep with the tradition of what a Mustang is supposed to be. At the side profile, you got a nice set of silver wheels, large Brembo brake calipers up front as well. Then you can see just some sharp body lines throughout the front with that 5-liter badge. Down below, you got a plastic black material for the side skirt, sharp body lines, body color door handles, as well as the mirror caps, and then just some black trim throughout all the windows. You have some sharp lines throughout the roof, and then for the side profile, Ford calls their coupe the fastback. So you have that fastback design where the roof line slopes into the trunk. It definitely does look a little long in back, especially with that small lip spoiler. So a little bit interesting comparing it to the previous generation or ones with a bigger wing. You have a pretty large and wide rear fender arch, sharp body lines throughout it, and then you can see just some sharp lines throughout the spoiler. In back, you're gonna get a nice set of triple beam LED taillights with this cool design. Very traditional for Mustang to have the 3 bars. You have your backup camera GT logo right in the back of the trunk, and a lot of very sharp body lines comparing it to previous gens. You can see just how far the rear bumper cuts backwards and how angled those taillights truly are. And then down below, we have plastic material for the whole rear diffuser. You have your dual quad-tipped exhaust, parking sensors, reverse light in the center, and some nice sharp fins throughout that diffuser. So overall, I think the newest generation Mustang still carries the traditions we love about this car and has a nice modern appearance with bold style. Taking a look at the key fob, you're gonna get lock, unlock, remote start in the trunk release. If I go ahead and lock the car and double tap on the remote start, you can hear that V8 roar to life and then easily turn it off. That is one good sounding engine, and keep in mind, Ford is the last man standing with a V8 muscle car, so good job Ford. With that said, I can grab the door handle, automatically unlock, and being a GT Premium, you're gonna get the nice black leather interior all throughout. For the door panel, finished off in black, you're gonna get somewhat of a softer touch plastic material, and then this nice smooth leather material throughout the insert with nice contrast stitching. You have this plastic carbon fiber design, aluminum release handle, and then all of your controls up above. Mustang logo nicely on the door sill, finished in aluminum. You have power controls for forwards and back. You have manual controls for recline, and then the smooth leather material along with the perforations throughout the center. So a nice design for the basic seats. Of course, there are other trim levels available with the Recaro bucket seats. You're also going to get a flat bottom design for the steering wheel wrapped in black leather. Then you have more of the plastic carbon fiber and some aluminum trim. And then now inside the 2025 Ford Mustang GT, keep my foot on the brake, we can fire it up. taking a look at the steering wheel, you're gonna get that Pony logo right in the center, controls on the left side for cruise control and drive mode, and then on the right side, you're gonna get your steering feel adjustment, audio controls, and then a few buttons for the center screen. You are gonna get paddle shifters for the 10-speed, stock on the right side for windshield wipers, stock on the left for turn signals, and then the center multimedia screen, you can see we have nice gauge cluster, and then if I configure the different drive modes, you can also then configure the screen. So I have it integrated to where it's gonna change depending on the drive mode I'm in. So going into sport now, it's gonna change the tack and everything, give you a really cool design and a nice depiction. And then of course you can continue over into many other items. So you have track, drag strip mode, and things like that. So with that, you also have a few things on the bottom. You can see the tire pressure, other items like that. If I hit OK and then scroll, you can see a few more gauge information and things like that. On the left side, we have all of our headlight controls, some nice contrast stitching, more of the plastic carbon fiber, just some smooth material across the dashboard. Got the Mustang logo, more of that plastic carbon fiber look, and then the full massive screen. People aren't the biggest fans, it seems, but honestly, as a driver, I do like it. It looks pretty cool in here. We have a nice display with audio, phone connectivity. We have settings on the right side that are gonna pop up. You can easily adjust all of this. Swiping over, we have more information on the right side as well you can go through. Going back to home, we have features. You're gonna see a few different things you're able to adjust. Climate control is all integrated down below, so if you toggle the center icon, that's kind of gonna give you to our menu where you can adjust quite a lot. However, we have our temperature on the left side you can easily adjust, or you can just swipe your finger on it. On the right side is gonna be the passenger side. So we have dual zone temperature, we have fan speed in the center here, you just toggle that, make your adjustments, heated seats, heated steering wheel. And then if we hit My Mustang, you're gonna be able to configure a lot. So we have the gauge cluster theme, you can change that every which way. We have a few new designs as well. We have the SVT Cobra, which is pretty cool. Got the Fox body design, got the classic one as well. So nice to see that kind of integration, and then all sorts of different ones. So definitely cool to see the old school ones along with all the normal ones for the modern car. We have different items you can adjust. We have the custom mode, all sorts of different things you're able to configure with the drive modes. So quite a lot in this screen, honestly. Looks cool, works pretty well. And then for reverse, pop in that. We have a nice backup camera, all of your guidelines and parking sensors, and then back into park. Got one of your air vents along with the plastic trim. And then down below, we have our start stop, a shortcut to the My Mustang, where you can go into all sorts of that information. A few more shortcuts in volume, plugs, a little bit of storage, your shifter, and then in the center, we have an electronic parking brake. You can also see your cup holders, and then more storage on the right side under there. Some of them will be equipped with the really cool drift e-brake. That is an option in other trims. And we have a nice glove box as well. One last look at the interior. So no major updates for 2025. However, I do like the old school gauges, which is a pretty cool touch. And then just a nice look at the seats, materials, and everything. We have a sunglass holder up above along with garage door buttons and a nice frameless mirror. Moving on to the back seat, you can grab the handle behind the driver's seat, slide it forward, and then press the button to really get out of the way. This is a 4-seater car. You're gonna see the black leather back here with these two nice looking bucket seats with contrast stitching as well. No real amenities, however, they will independently fold down, and you have a nice small armrest. So hopping into the back seat with the Ford Mustang Coupe. So it's nice that this can be a family-focused sporty car if needed. Now I'm 5'11", and this is definitely not that comfortable. Headroom is limited, legroom and knee room are pretty limited as well. In a pinch though, I mean, you can fit grown-ups back here. It's just gonna be a pretty tight squeeze. You could probably do pretty well with kids back here. So again, I mean, this is a muscle car. This is for fun driving, but you have practicality in these back seats for people in a pinch and for stuff if needed. Moving on to the trunk space, there is gonna be a button located right under here that will pop, and then we can manually lift that open. You have a pretty decent amount of space in here. It's actually very wide as well. You can see those cubbies in the far left side as well as the far right side. And then with the seats popped downwards, you can see just how much extra storage space you're gonna get in the back of a Mustang. And this is a cool view to see on the back glass. We have all the old school Mustangs printed out on the glass panel. So a pretty nice little Easter egg right there. with those seats folded down and the front ones out of the way. They do fold nearly flat. You have a pretty large opening into the trunk space to make this a very practical muscle car for the family as well as cargo. All right, so setting off now in the Mustang GT. So obviously you have some good power from that V8. It is a smooth power delivery, really nice RPM band that you got to play with. The gauges, that's a pretty cool touch on this car, just to give you something a little bit different, and it's nice to be in a V8. There's something about a muscle car with the real engine. I mean, the EcoBoost is a great way to go if you want to save some money. You don't really need the crazy performance, but Chevy doesn't have something anymore, and Stellantis is kind of going downhill with electric stuff. So this is cool that Ford still offers the Mustang, and I like the Premium. You know, you have all sorts of good tech, heated and ventilated seats. I love the gauge cluster designs you can play with. It's just a pretty neat design overall with what you can do with this car. And I know not everybody likes the display and everything, but honestly, it ends up looking pretty good. I think it's a pretty well laid out design, pretty user friendly too. Of course, you can drive it in automatic and manual mode, and just a nice comfortable place to be. The seats are comfortable, well padded, really can't complain with that. Visibility's all good, nice large windshield, good mirrors. Can't complain at all with just the overall use. I think the interior is easy to use. I don't mind everything in the screen, given everything is right here. You don't have to go into 10 different menus just to make an adjustment. So I like how that is simple overall, and it looks clean. The custom gauges are neat as well, just the way it is, just kind of giving you some fancy tech in a muscle car, and yet it still drives like a muscle car, which is an important thing. So it seems really well rounded for what you're going to have. Now, with all that said, for the performance, we've had some Mustangs as press cars. We've had a Dark Horse before. And if you want some real performance, the Dark Horse is pretty sweet with what you have to offer. And then, of course, upcoming Shelby models, GTD models. So there really is a Mustang for probably anybody. There is a very well-rounded spectrum of this car. It sounds really good too with the transmission and everything. It shifts pretty nicely. It's smooth to drive in drive. And then manual mode, there's a little bit of a lurch between gears. I'm not the biggest fan, but when you're really punching it, it does shift super quickly. So even a GT, you know, this can be a comfortable daily, but it can also be a fun, rowdy muscle car where you can spin the tires, have some fun. Handling's decent. It's a little heavy. Obviously, it's more of a straight line car than a, you know, car to hit the mountains with. But if you have all the performance packages and everything, this can be a car that you can have a lot of fun with taking the sharp turns. The steering gets a little bit harder and heavier when you're in the fun modes, and then it lightens up nicely. It's also not too hard of a car to place, pretty easy to see around. Cameras all work really well, and you can just kind of easily maneuver everything pretty well. All right, so my honest thoughts now with the Mustang GT Premium. Honestly, this is a lot of car for the money. 54 grand basically for this one. You get the nice luxury techs, things that you would see on luxury cars, and yet you also get a V8. How many V8 cars are there today? The number is going down a lot. You can drive this car like your daily. There's nothing wrong with daily in this. The exhaust, you can actually go into an even quieter mode if needed, which I don't know why you would, but if you really are daily in this and you're just cruising, you know, you're able to tone this thing down a lot. With that said, you can still slow acceleration up to 40. It sounds so good. It's addicting to have a big engine, and it sounds good. And nowadays, as this kind of car is dying out, it makes you appreciate it even more with what the Mustang offers. It's nice to see Ford giving you a real engine like this. The V8 is cool. It sounds great. It's got great power. This really is a fun to drive car if you're into the muscle car world. It really just gives you that type of driving experience. The drive modes all do a great job too. I think Ford did do a really good job dialing in the suspension, the steering, the exhaust sounds, the engine tuning and everything. It's something you can have fun with. You can enjoy the power delivery and turn this car from a daily to a muscle car drag car. So really nothing to really hate on these. It's just got the old school fun muscle car character. And while Ford has done some new things, you know, this screen not everybody likes. I think the more you drive it, you'll realize that it's actually not just a big tablet stuck on there. This is lower than the dashboard. I can see the dash above, I can see the hood above. So it's not really just in your face like you might think based on pictures. In person, I see the nice gauge cluster with however I'd like to see it. And then I have all the information and all the fancy tech over here. Whether I use all the tech in that screen or not, you know, most of the time you're probably not. But there is enough in there to where you can use your nav, your Apple CarPlay. You got the fun driving things like auxiliary gauges, but then you have your tech stuff too, the fancy stuff like the ventilated seat control and all of that. So it's easy to use, you get used to it, and you're never forgetting that you have a V8 under the hood to where you can drive this car like a muscle car and have the fun. The brakes work really well, nice to see the Brembos on it. So if you are looking for a muscle car, Ford is your only option. The others are gone, and this is the last man standing. And I think Ford still offers you something fun with the Mustang. It's not a drastic difference from the S550, but basically they made this interior a lot nicer. This feels like a premium place to be. It rides nice. It's got the tech, but it doesn't lose any of the soul of a Mustang that owners love with these cars. So I think if you can just get past the new screen, that seems to be the biggest controversy. Soak up the V8 because this is the last one. And I think we owe it to Ford to enjoy what the Mustang is. I believe Ford had their kind of worst sales on this car last year. The Mach-E sold more apparently. So it's gonna be interesting what happens, but maybe we're gonna get some Mopar guys and Chevy guys to switch to the Mustang given this is the only V8. That is it then for the 2025 Ford Mustang GT Premium Coupe. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for plenty more content to come, and big shout out to Mooresville Ford for providing this car for today's video. Check out their website, linked down below.